This morning I have a special presentation I want to share with you and the public. I want to warn you in advance, the DVD you're about to see is exceptionally graphic. In all probability, it's going to make some of us uncomfortable, and it should. I want to make it very clear, we did not produce this DVD. It was produced by a young man who is watching us today over the internet. His name is Reginald Bullock, and he's watching us from Tennessee. The DVD speaks for itself, but let me set it up for you. But did you know that black teenagers are killing each other in rising numbers? And it is part of a troubling trend that is plaguing our communities and this nation. Our young men are disappearing either because they are being killed or because they are headed to prison for killing each other. Now, if those statistics don't frighten you, then I want you to take a very sobering look at this DVD, because as I have been saying, you have to change your heart in order to change our heads. And Madam President, would you please, this is about an 18-minute DVD, and I know our attention span, in many cases, people like to move around. But please, I want you to please watch this DVD and give it your full attention. So,
Robert Kennedy, when he was Attorney General, said that he could imagine the possibility of a Negro president in the United States within perhaps 40 years. Do you think this is at all realistic?
I am very optimistic about the future. Frankly, I have seen certain changes in the United States over the last 2 years that surprised me. So on the basis of this, I think we may be able to get a Negro president in less than 40 years. I would think that this could come in 25 years or less.
When the bombs fell on our harbor and tyranny threatened the world, she was there to witness a generation rise to greatness, and a democracy was saved. She was there for the buses in Montgomery, the hoses in Birmingham, a bridge in Selma, and a preacher from Atlanta who told the people that we shall overcome. Yes, we can. A man touched down on the moon. A wall came down in Berlin. A world was connected by our own science and imagination.
Sir, Master of Darkness, I came to apologize. I know that you gave me control of the African Americans on Earth, but I've messed up, sir, because one of them has just been elected President of the United States, sir. I'm so sorry, sir.
Quit crying, you fool. You must have forgotten what I have done to the African American throughout the history of time.
But Master of Darkness, he's Harvard educated. He's a smart man. He's a good man. He loves his wife. He's almost like he's perfect. And he's a Christian. It's going to be really hard to stop him, sir.
There are certainly ways to stop him. Let me give you the history of what I've done to the African American. I always knew that I needed America to be a powerful nation that would control the world. But in order to do this, I needed Africans to help accelerate the process. Having slaves in America would allow the United States a 300-year head start on all other nations, allowing them to become one of the most powerful in the world.
Why did you pick African slaves, sir?
Africans were very strong people. They were one of God's first creations. I needed their strength, I needed their wisdom, I needed all of their abilities so that I could help the Americas become powerful.
How did you get them to do it?
We beat them, we whipped them, we did everything we could do to destroy who they were. We even sold their children, broke up their families. They don't even know if they're related or not, even to this day.
The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pasture. He leadeth me beside still waters. He restored my soul. He leaded me in the path of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff shall comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Thou anoint my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord. This we will always carry with the Negro slave. This is the only thing that they couldn't take. And it was I am Yahweh, Jehovah. Thank you.
Equipment as I work, so y'all forgive me, I can't share the podium like Miss Brenda did. She did a very good job. I have a surprise for our guests. I almost couldn't hold it. I wanted to tell Ms. Roach I want to thank for I bothered her to death so we can get former mayor to continue the program. That's his bodyguard. And we got Ms. Ruby as wife, the other bodyguard. But anyhow, this surprise, I didn't want to hold it. I almost let it loose. I wanted to tell Ms. Roach so bad. So I had to tell Brenda every night and show Patsy, and because I wanted to let it out, but now I'm going to let it out.
Let it out there. Step left, keep it going. Like a J. Anthony joke, let's keep it flowing. Dip, like a girl do it. DJ Shuffle, man, it's like a trip. Now reach for it if you know what I mean. Oh, somebody scream. Civil.
Hi, this is Sybil Wilkes of the Tom Joyner Morning Show, and since we celebrate Black History 365 days a year, I am honored to reveal this little known Black History fact or two about some of your very own speakers. Former Mayor of Arlington, ELZIE ODOM, played a major role in acquiring the Dallas Cowboys, the Super Bowl, and he also came up with a plan to pay off the Texas Rangers ballpark nearly 10 years early. Likewise, before Mayor Odom started his political career, he was only the 5th African-American U.S. Postal Inspector. Mayor ELZIE Odom, on behalf of the Tom Joyner Morning Show, we salute you. As he fights against race crimes, unlawful and unjust treatment from government and the corporate sector. He is the Reverend Ronald Wright of the Justice Seekers. He founded this organization in February of 2010 as newly formed Civil Rights and Social Justice Organization, which focuses on civil rights for all citizens. The Tom Joyner Morning Show encourages you, Reverend Ronald Wright, to keep fighting for the just. I'm Sybil Wilkes. Have a great celebration.
In 1900. They grew up in Jacksonville, Florida, but had to leave Jacksonville to go to Atlanta for schooling because there were no schools for color in Jacksonville. While in Atlanta, both worked to wash dishes in restaurants to support themselves. After graduation, they returned to Jacksonville and sought employment. They both were employed in the then established Jacksonville Colored Schools. In 1900, a celebration was planned to recognize Abraham Lincoln's birthday, and the Johnsons were asked to write a song and present it at the celebration. It was then that they wrote "Lift Every Voice." Please note that it's written in a very definite and intentional manner. There are 3 stanzas, and I was taught that each of them should be sung each time we sing it. The first one is that of rejoicing. It says, lift every voice and sing, till earth and heaven ring. Ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicings rise, high as the listening skies. Let it resound, loud as the roses. The second stanza became a little bit sad, as it depicted slavery and the scars it had left. It said, stony the road we trod, bitter the chastening rod, felt in the days when hope unborn had died. Yet with a steady beat, have now our weary feet come to the place for which our hearts. The third stanza moves us from the joyous description of the first through the sadness of the second and into the anticipation of God's continuous guidance. God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, Thou who hast brought us thus far on the way, Thou who hast by thy might led us into the light, keep us forever in the path we pray. There are no personal pronouns in this song. The words us, we, and our suggest unity. So when we sing this song, let us reflect on the circumstance under which it was written and pledge ourselves to be true to our God and to our native land. Now join me as we sing, lift every voice and sing.
Oh once again. If I can just rest in your presence and leave all my cares behind me, I will be whole. I'll still believe. I will just lay at his feet. I will be whole. I'll still believe. I will just praise at his feet. Right here in your presence. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Adams. Checks in the mail. I mean that sincerely. I mean, she was up here talking about how great somebody's poetry was, and I thought she was talking about somebody else. But first of all, and while I got y'all attention real quick, give it up for the artists that came up before me. These ladies are fantastic. I'm not going to take up too much of y'all time, but hopefully I can get through this. Let's say, yeah, I'm gonna do this, as they say, Acapulco. Let's see. All right.
I don't know if you need to come up and do the speaker.
Okay. Is that better? Yeah, that's better. All right. All right. Let's see.
Go ahead on, Alex.
All right. I lay down my sword in hopes that we can all be on one accord, because the human race can no longer embrace or afford to continue fighting. For centuries, we've been bitter enemies, like the biblical Jesus was to the Pharisees, as we've been too blind to see that no one else can set us free. The only thing is love. It's enlightening. Scores of wars has caused blood to pour from the pores of the poor, and what for? So the powers that be can have a monopoly, and properly they have the poor taking a false stance as they finance both sides, as they hide behind the mask of the real task, and they bask on the flower bed of Eve. To them it is all a gag, while the mothers receive a folded up bag and a body bag, leaving them bereaved and deceived. Thank you.
It's okay. Go ahead, baby.
All I got.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
This next one I got, this is the poem that I call it No Fear. I steer clear away from fear because it's something I've no longer accepted. I fight for the right to be the light, just as the biblical Jesus was, because I expect it. Yes, the light that shines so bright within me as I've been injected with a superior knowledge without any college, and now my mind's been resurrected. With a new conscious mind, no longer blind to the illusions that are placed before me. I'm no longer a slave that is forced to behave for a system that has so long adored me. I choose to refuse to be abused as I first learned to adore me. I have the knowledge of self to create my own wealth, therefore I can write my own ticket or story. To achieve the thing you want to bring in your life, be connected to the source. It's not at all odd, as some call it God, it's simply just the divine force. But no matter what it is called, do not be appalled that God is referred to as the source. With the law of attraction and no negative contractions, one should never be off course. Fear, conquer yours.
All right. All right.
And I think I got one more in me. Truth is the light. As the world continues spinning on its axis, I practice what I preach to reach and teach with my speech each and every one of those souls who will allow me to expose the truth, which is the light. The light that illuminates and stimulates as it can hardly wait to penetrate through the gates of your neural pathways to bring about brighter days that are more powerful than the ultraviolet rays of the sun that shines so bright. As it is the star that shines the brightest, and its touch is golden like that of King Midas, I put emphasis on the thing that causes photosynthesis as I tap into your brain and go inside your astral plane, where there lies the root of your consciousness. Raising the mentally dead who needs to be fed and get out of that proverbial bed and stop sleeping. I need you to get it through your head and be well read, because it is in these books that these backstabbing crooks are keeping the secrets of which you are seeking. We need to wake up and take off that makeup and break up the nonsense and the buffoonery. Stop acting like those in blackface who are caught up in the rat race trying to get to first base but going no place. To defeat the parasitical elite, we must repeat the steps of our ancestors that came before us. Be like one as in unity and bring together all communities as we all sing along to the same song like we're in chorus.
All
This one, my signature piece. I call it Babylon is Falling. That's a little history behind this poem. I wrote this one back in 2007. My partner Ron, he said, "Alex, isn't it funny how we're celebrating this Independence Day, and back in 1776, while America was so-called fighting for their freedom over here, they was oppressing the whole nation of people over here." You know, so when I thought about that, I was like, man, I mean, the hypocrisy of America. So this is the inspiration behind that. I've been liberated from my mother now for 200 years or older. Shed more blood than the Katrina flood, whether the water was hotter or colder. Fought for the freedom of many people just so they could have democracy. But by the encouragement of the government, you can still see the hypocrisy. I've owned more slaves than Arlington has graves, and some wonder how I did it. By putting them in a bind and enslaving their minds, but I guess I'll never admit it. But despite the bad, I've done some good, as I'll explain to you in a minute. I've lent my powers after 2 destroyed towers, and yet some people were still offended. I've allowed drugs in my neighborhoods, causing major consequences and repercussions. Now I'm hesitant to have a president who still thinks they're weapons of mass destruction. I've caused more inflation for an entire nation and put more people on welfare. Made the medicine so high that the people have died because they couldn't afford the health care. I've traveled to foreign soil to get some oil and put my soldiers in harm's way. And yet the price of gas has been put on blast since at least 2001 in May. If you haven't figured out who I am by now, I'm staring you right in the face. Plain and simple, like a pair of dimples, because God has shed His grace. I am who the immigrants come to live in a brand new place. I'll do you one better by taking these 7 letters to spell out I am race. A is for the awful atrocities, corporate control monopolies, and unnecessary tax fees that have been placed on people. M is for the made-up wars and for the mind-controlling military that turns young men and women into proverbial whores for the power to be pimps that are scavenged like shrimps to get rich off of the masses of bastards and never treat them as equals. E is for the erasing or the editing of the history books to pull the wool over our eyes and cover up the countless deceptions and countless lies, knowing full well that they are devils in disguise, and it's a shame. R is for the reparations that should be paid to the blacks who you tied up like braids and made them your slaves until they were placed into an early grave, but you don't care, and that's unfair because to you it was a business and a game. I is for the inflation of prices which causes the unnecessary crisis which puts the people in debt which you'll soon regret and you still don't get it yet. C is for the collapse of the empire due to straits that have died that puts the powers that be on the hot seat that is hotter than fish grease, which is the word like you heard like Frankie Valley, not Avalon. A is for all that was just said. I hope y'all got it through y'all head that it's America that is the modern day Babylon. So I'm going to play Gabriel and blow my trumpet. And those all you strong soldiers that I'm calling, because I got a hell of a fight in the Northwest Babylon. It's hard.
Last year, yeah. Before I fell and broke my ankle. Anyway, and this body healed now, so you know I won't mess with me. Thank God for that. And I want to tell her that I appreciate her, that I thank her, love her, always have, always will. Be out to her church, just a shout. But I want to give her as a memento this t-shirt here.